1 hour on the dot webinar. We promised we're going to start by 7 p.m. sharp, which of course is the local Nigerian time, and 6 p.m. Of course in Ghana, where we have both Nigerians and Ghanaians connecting to today's webinar. So for every one of us, of course, wherever we're connecting from, the whole essence, the whole purpose of attending today's webinar is to talk about the ProconnectPAY nursing academic initiative, to talk about the ProconnectPAY academic initiative for every one of us that that are here today. We all have this one desire, this one ambition, this one dream to acquire a global education. We know that in this part of the world, one of the things we get to hear almost on a daily basis, from Nigerians, from Africans, it's always, oh, I would love to study abroad. I would love to study nursing. I want to transfer to nursing. I want to convert to nursing. I want to change to nursing. I want to transform to nursing. You get to hear all of this on a daily basis. Now, for those of us, of course, that are fortunate to have studied, in nursing, of course, at our undergraduates, during our undergraduate years, we would you all agree with me that the way nursing, of course, works in this part of the world is not the same way nursing works, in other parts of the world, specifically in Nigeria or Ghana or wherever it is, of course, that we are connecting from. So I welcome every one of us, of course, to today's meeting. So in the spirit of we introducing ourselves, I think it would be good for us to, say our names. Let us also share where we're connecting from exactly. So my name is Jerry, or my name is Favor, or my name is Rachel. I'm connecting from Accra in Ghana. I'm connecting from Kumasi in Ghana. I'm connecting from Nigeria, from Ebonyi State in Nigeria. I'm connecting from Lagos in Nigeria. Wherever, of course, you are connecting from across the African continent, I would love for you to introduce yourselves in the comment section. We know that for every one of us attending to this meeting, we're either nurses or we're auxiliary nurses, or we're nurses that have acquired, of course, some form of diploma in nursing, or better still, we're graduates of science, medical, or health-oriented courses, and we desire to switch our careers, into the nursing field. So we're going to explain all of the processes involved in, acquiring, this education. And like you can see, we are called ProconnectPAY. ProconnectPAY is an African edu fintech company. We're an African edu fintech company. One of the major goals and objectives of ProconnectPAY is to democratize access to global educational opportunities for high potential individuals of African descent. So it means that despite all of the hard work we put in, in this part of the world, whether we're in Nigeria, whether we're in Ghana, oftentimes you don't get commensurate results when it comes to, growing your career, when it comes to, being appreciated, when it even comes to the financial rewards, for all of the years you've toiled to become a nurse. So we know for a fact that in this part of the world, we don't get that form of, psychological reward. So for we are always on the lookout for, okay, how do I get better opportunities? How do I get bigger opportunities? How do I get opportunities that guarantees my growth economically, my growth professionally, my growth financially, and my growth, of course, from a global perspective and from a global point of view. So for every one of you, attending today's meeting, the major reason you are here is because you desire to acquire a global education that guarantees you global opportunities, a global education that ensures you can compete globally. So it's not just enough about being, oh, I'm interested in nursing, I'm interested in this or that. No, you need to acquire mindset necessary to compete globally, because the very moment you step out of this country, the very moment you step out of this continent, you'll be competing with your peers from several parts of the world that have come to acquire a nursing degree, whether it's at the BSc level or, of course, at the MSc level. So for every one of you that are here, we deem you high potential. We deem the fact that if we invest in you, we know you can climb to the peak when it comes to your nursing careers. And I'm pretty sure that for many of us, the goal is not to leave our countries, whether we're in Ghana, whether we're in Nigeria, to live a mediocre life. The goal is, as I acquire this global education, I would want to use this global education to ensure that I better my life and I better my outcome. So if, of course, you are driven by this desire to better your life, to better your outcome, but more importantly, to rise to the peak in the nursing profession, then I clap for you, because you are completely and totally in the right place. And ProconnectPAY will power that aspiration of yours to compete globally. ProconnectPAY will power that aspiration of yours to acquire a global education. And for the fact that you're here today, it means that we deem you high potential, and we are willing and we are ready to invest, of course, to ensure that you are able to achieve your fullest potential that, of course, you've been ordained to be. So let's flip on, of course, to the major reason we are here today. The major reason we are here today. I'm going to be speaking about everything we do in two components. The first component is the academic component of this particular program. And the second component, of course, is the funding component of this particular program. I'll be speaking today from two major components. The first component being, of course, the academic part of this particular program. And the second component being the funding part of this particular component. Now, just to say this loud and clear, ProconnectPAY is not a charity organization. We are not a charity organization. So it means that anybody coming to us, they are coming to us because you desire to take an academic loan, an education loan, to acquire a global nursing education. So this is not a grant. This is not a scholarship. Anybody attending to this meeting has that clear understanding. I am here today because I desire to take an international student loan that allows me to acquire a global nursing education, that allows me to write professional exams in nursing in the US and in the states I'll be going to in the US, to enable me practice unencumbered in the states I will school in. So the goal is not just to acquire a global education. The goal is to ensure that you also acquire the nursing license you need to practice post-graduation in the states you will be going to, depending on, of course, the university you decide to choose or the university that decides to admit you. So take this as more or less of an investment in your future, an investment in your potential. And the good thing is, ProconnectPAY is the first ever fintech company focused on education that's offering this marvelous opportunity to high potential individuals of African descent. So we're not a charity, we're not an NGO, we're not a foundation, we're not even a development organization. We are here to do business, but we're in the business of creating credible impact. We're in the business of investing in the potential of high potential individuals, in the success of high potential individuals. And in this very case, if you are here today, that's because you have one of either goals. Either you want to acquire an accelerated bachelor's in nursing, or you want to acquire a master's in nursing. So let's talk about the academic components before we talk about the funding components. For those of you, of course, there are about 4 or 5 categories of individuals that have expressed their interest to attend today's webinar, of course, to assess the benefits that ProconnectPAY has on offer. The first category are nursing graduates. You have a BSc in nursing. You are currently an undergraduate in nursing. You are a graduate of a science-oriented course, whether it's at the HND level or at the BSc level. You've attended some form of college or school of nursing that is tied to a government hospital in your country. And the last category are the O-level graduates. O-level graduates that have also attended some form of nursing trainings. So if you belong to any one of these categories, then yes, you are in the right place. But let me focus on the first two, or the first three, before we now talk about the last two or three. The first two in this case, so let me write on my screen so that everyone can actually see as I get to explain in details the way this particular process works. I love to write because when you write, it's easy for people to follow what you're saying. So I'm going to be sharing my screen shortly so that I can just recap some of the things I said right now about the categories of individuals I'll be speaking to right now. And please, just to know this webinar is going to be quite short because by 8 p.m. sharp, which is 7 p.m. in Ghana, we're going to wrap up. So I'm going to be as fast as possible. So, undergraduates in nursing faculties, in nursing programs in the university, graduates of nursing, graduates of science or medical oriented programs. Then you have graduates of nursing schools, affiliated government hospitals, nursing schools or colleges like some states or countries might call theirs. Then of course you have the O-level graduates with some basic nurse training. For graduates of science or medical oriented courses, this could be BSc or HND graduates. So these are the categories of prospects that, of course, our program targets at the moment. So I'm very sure that for every one of us attending today's meeting, we belong to either one of these prospects. So it's either current undergraduates. Okay, Okwemi, confirm that you can see my screen.
I can't.
Oh my gosh, sorry guys. I thought I'd shared it. Sorry. I thought I shared it already. I was just carried away typing. Okay, so I guess you can see my screen now.
Yes.
So, 5 categories of individuals. Somehow, we belong to one of these, either of these categories. For everyone, of course, attending today's meeting. So let's talk about category. Let's talk about category 1 so that I can just take them one after the other. So if you are currently in a nursing school, like you are currently in the university, and I know that nursing in Nigeria or Ghana takes about 4 or 5 years. So, and you are currently in your 300 level, you can transfer to wrap up your nursing program in the US. And I will add or Canada for this particular category of individuals, If you're in 300 level in nursing BSc, you can transfer to wrap up your nursing program in the US or Canada. If you're a graduate of nursing, currently a graduate of nursing, BSc graduate of nursing, you can also do a master's in US or Canada. It's usually 2 years, but of course, you need to be a registered nurse already, very important. You need to be a registered nurse in your home country of Nigeria or Ghana. If you're a graduate of science or medical programs, whether it's BSc or HND, you qualify to do an accelerated BSN program in the US. You qualify to do an accelerated BSN program. BSN means Bachelors of Science in Nursing. Bachelors of Science in Nursing. So you are here today. You are a graduate of a science course or a medical program, whether it's HND or BSc. But now, there's a caveat. Your CGPA cannot go below 3.0 on a scale of 4.0. So you will need to ensure you have a 2-1, but you would also want to do a WES evaluation so that your CGPA from Africa can be converted to the standard expected in the US. I don't know if Ghana also does 4.5, 0.5, or 0.4. Ghanaians, you can let me know. But I also know that some persons say that in nursing school, you do, in nursing school, that you do not have like a 2-1 or a 2-2 or a first class. So the same rule for graduates of nursing. If you're going to do a master's in the US or Canada, you need to ensure that your CGPA also is 3.0 on a scale of 4.0. So that means that if you are probably using a 5.0 scale, you want to do a WES valuation to know exactly where your CGPA stands, when of course it's converted to an American standard of education. So to the fourth guys, graduates of nursing schools or colleges, those of you that have a diploma in nursing, you also qualify if of course you're a registered nurse, because I know that when you do And when you graduate from, your nursing school or your nursing college in Ghana or Nigeria, you also get to write a professional exam so that your nursing, medical, and midwifery council can certify you as a registered nurse. You also qualify to do an accelerated BSN in the US. But now, you will need to be already a registered nurse. You will need to be a registered nurse, practicing nurse, practicing, registered, need to be a registered practicing nurse at the moment. Then the fifth category, O-level graduates. Would also need to have passed through nursing school or college. You cannot qualify for an accelerated BSN if you do not have some basic nursing training. Now, auxiliary training, of course, is the one we get to see or hear a lot of in this part of Nigeria or Ghana. But the honest reality is auxiliary training for nursing is not recognized by the medical or the nursing or the midwifery council of Nigeria or Ghana. So when one has auxiliary nursing training as an O-level graduate, it just means you can work in some low-level kind of hospitals that cannot afford someone that went to a college or a school of nursing. Talk less of even those that graduated BSc with nursing. So all-level graduates are qualified, but you still need to have gone through basic nursing school or nursing college training. Yeah, auxiliary training is done, but it is not sufficient because you need a government-recognized institution to endorse the knowledge you have so that you don't accuse someone in the US. And of course, nursing is not, and this is not you wanting to go and study something like maybe business. If you are going to work as a nurse, it's a very professional, a very technical, and a very, life or death situation kind of skill. So they need to be sure that you have the mental fortitude, you have the intellectual capacity to take on an education, to retain that education, and to implement everything you learn through that education. So of course, some of you might be graduates of a science or medical course, and you know that you probably had a 2-2, like that's a second class lower. Oh God. So you have a 2-2. If you've done a master's to back up your graduate of science or medical program, then of course you also qualify to do the accelerated BSN program. For some schools we partner with, their BSN program runs for 12 months, some for 18 months, some for 15 months, some for 14 months. The highest we have is about 18 months for the accelerated BSN. For the MSc, it is 2 years. Some schools will mandate that you need, in fact, all of the schools mandate you do IELTS, you do a WEST valuation. Like I said, this is nursing. This is not a business course or some kind of courses that does not concern life or death. Anyone taking this particular pathway, you are taking a pathway that will see you saving lives. And we need to be sure that you have the intellectual capacity to excel in this kind of environment, because this is going to be an high stress environment. What people learn in 4 years, you'll be learning them in about 16 months, 14 months, 12 months, 18 months. Your schedule academically will be intense. So this is not child's play at all. You know, you are lazy academically, you are lazy mentally. This is not a step you want to take. There are specific schools this program applies to. Those schools will be communicated to you once you become a member of the network. You get assigned a manager. That manager will recommend about 3 schools to you. And trust me, we're looking at only working with schools. We already have schools we partner with, but we're not streamlining those schools to the schools that will not give you so much stress with requirements or demands. But you will need to do your homework of writing your personal statements. And the personal statements templates that every one of them are asking for speaks to your motivation, the reason you decided to choose this particular field, why you should be admitted into that program. Most of the schools were selected for this particular program are schools that will not mandate that you must have a nursing license in the US to be granted admission. Most of them can give you admission without a nursing license in any state in the US. Well, once you get into the US, you begin to work on acquiring a license immediately. Fortunately, there's also a platform that also enables you to acquire a temporary nursing license once you pass the exam. It's a very simple exam you take online. It's a global platform for foreign educated nurses that want to take on a further education and work in the US. So it's not like an online course you do that enables you, if you pass that, they are the ones that will recommend it to the states you will study in and recommend that you should be given a temporary nursing license. Of course, that is a major advantage, because what it means is the clinical components of your program, you would seamlessly be able to start that almost immediately because you've acquired your nursing temporary license. All of this will get to guide you on how to go about them. How to apply, what to get. See, apply for a nursing program is the same way you apply for a normal master's or an MBA. This is only complicated a little because it's nursing. But the good thing is that ProconnectPAY and its managers will be there to guide you. So the normal way you write your statement of purpose is the same thing you do here. You know your field. You know what you've seen studying in your field. You know what your motivations are. Of course, your motivations are you want to relocate. You want to leave the continent. But beyond that, I am pretty sure that many of us are taking this pathway because we desire to make an impact, to make a difference in the nursing field, to add value, to bring value based off your experiences. In fact, yesterday when myself and my colleagues were engaging some of the schools, one of the schools even has a nursing component that will take you to Latin or Southern America to go and work in the interior villages of these countries as part of your clinical components. So when we saw that part, we're like, wow, these guys, they need to come to Nigeria or Ghana to see the condition with which our nurses work in. They will know that that component they're taking them on is going to be so easy for an African, because over here in Africa, we work under pressure. We work with so many resources not available or not being readily available. So a component like that will take you to rural Latin America. A lot of you will excel in courses of that nature because you're already used to working in such stress environments. So, like I've said, This is not a, I want to study nursing program and come back home to Africa. No. You study, acquire your license while you're studying, just before you graduate, and you get a job instantly. We do not help you get jobs. But for those of you, there's a reason every one of us wants to study nursing in the US or Canada, because the market over there is right. And if you've been following the news, you will see that in the US, they currently have high nurse shortages. So the nurses over there are being stressed thin that now they are going on strike incessantly just to protest the fact that they're being overworked. And in my mind, I laugh. I'm like, oh my gosh, these guys, they need to come to Nigeria and see the way nurses work back to back for 4 days, at times without even lights, in environments that they don't even take care of you properly. So every one of us taking this pathway, we are going to feel a gap and a need. And the goal is, as you graduate, you get an excellent opportunity. You stay back and begin to build your life from there. So let's flip to the financial parts, the funding parts of this particular program. Like I said at the beginning, ProconnectPAY is not a charity organization. So it means that we are giving you a loan to go and study in the US or Canada, dependent on where you qualify to go to. We're giving you a loan to go and study in the US or Canada. We pay for your tuition. We pay for your cost of living. Cost of living is your accommodation, your feeding, your transportation, your textbooks, your utility expense, buying your white gown, and other materials or tools you would need during your clinicals. We get to add all of that to your cost of living. We won't pay for your flight tickets out of the continent. Four components. Tuition, cost of living, health insurance, and your flight tickets out of Africa. The costs you are responsible for. Membership fee, payments, school application fee. For most of you that know, you know that in the US, you have to apply through nursing class to a school. So you pay nursing class application fee, and we still get to pay the school application fee. When you finally get admission, you pay tuition deposits, then you pay your service fee. Service fee is a compulsory US government fee. These tuition deposits will be refunded to you when you get to the US or Canada, because it will be deducted Of course, anybody going to Canada don't get to pay for service. You pay for your visa processing. That's your interview booking fee and any other fee. Then you buy your flight tickets if you have the money on your own. Refunded to you when you land on campus. The loan we're giving to you, you are not going to see any of such money whilst you're in Africa. The money will only be paid to your school when you eventually resume on campus. So it means that you would have gotten your visa before your loan is disbursed to your school. You'd have gotten your visa before your loan is disbursed to your school. So our loan does not kick in until then. You do not need a collateral. You don't need a guarantor. You don't even need your kidney or your destiny to access the loan. We invest in your future potential. That's all we do. We invest in your future potential. That's when you study a nursing degree in the US or Canada, you will make it. You will go far. Financially, professionally, that's what we invest in. So that's, and of course, the interest rates on the loan for postgraduates is 12.99% per annum. For those of you going for bachelor's, BSc, nursing, it will be 13.99% per annum. You can pay back the loan in 10 years post graduation from your program. But we encourage people to pay back in 5 years. And you only pay interest for the 5 years you had our loan with you. It's possible, very possible to pay back in 5 years. But if you want to pay back the loan in 10 years, that's totally fine. And of course, you start paying back the loan when you graduate and get a job. And see, like I said before, ProconnectPAY will not help you get a job. That's a very African way to think that, oh, will you guys help us get a job? If you go and study a nursing program abroad and you graduate meritoriously, you're an hard worker. You are the kind of person that goes above and beyond to prove to an employer that you are worth it. You cannot graduate and be stranded. It is not possible. The demand for nurses is very high, very high. So getting a job is not the problem, because you would even have sufficient clinical experience. You already have your license and you pass your exams. So I do not say a challenge with, oh, can I get a job when I graduate? That is not a problem. What you need is to ensure that you graduate meritoriously, top 5% of your class. So for those of you that you are committed to a September or an August resumption, my advice would be that take your first step, pay your membership fee. If you're in Nigeria, that's 60K. If you're in Ghana, that's 150 USD. Pay your membership fee. Now, the honest reality is this. Once you pay your membership fee, we add it to WhatsApp groups. We add it to the general WhatsApp group. Then we're going to add it to a specific WhatsApp group for nursing candidates. We then assign a manager to you. That manager will assign to you. We then recommend 2 or 3 schools to you. The focus of our application will be on one school. We don't want you applying to multiple schools because, trust me, multiple schools have different requirements. So we're going to put in our best efforts on one school. And we believe that when you put in your best efforts in packaging up your resume well, you have your nursing license, in packaging up your statement of purpose, personalizing it, you'll be taught on how to personalize an health-oriented statement of purpose. Your chances of getting admission is very high, but we do not influence who gets admission. It is illegal to even say, oh, can you guys help us get admission? We don't. You have to earn your admission. You are going to study a course that can kill someone if they have to help you to get admission. So you are going to be responsible for your school application. We get to recommend a school to you. We get to explain gray areas. We get to teach on how to package up your resume. As a nurse, how to write your statement of purpose, personalizing it. If you are taking on this pathway, you need to decide in your heart, where do I want to specialize? Based on the options the school has. And you decide on that specialization. You read up on it. Look at your experience in Africa. And align that to your long-term aspirations and desire on why you want to acquire this education. Once you can do that alignment, it becomes easy. Remember that, see, work experience is not the problem here. You're a graduate. You've had some form of internship or work history. So that's not even the problem. They just want to be sure that you are clearly having the right kind of motivation to acquire an education in their school. And because this is a specialized field, they know for a fact that anyone that applies to them to a large extent knows that they can compete for admission. This is not everybody just applies for a nursing program. No, because it's specialized. There are always requirements and demands. Once you've got into your visa stage, we get to issue you a letter of support. So you don't need proof of funds to show at the embassy, whether it's for the Canadian Visa Center or the US Embassy or Consulates. You will be nurtured, you will be groomed and mentored on how to go for a visa interview. Remember, you are going for a course that is deemed commercially relevant, that is deemed life-saving. And these guys, they know that. And because they know that the course you are going for is a specialized field, anything that makes you to get an admission to a nursing school in the US or Canada, trust me, it means you are good. And that is the validation of your potential. So for that alone, you don't need to clap for yourself. Because it is very competitive to get admission. You're not going to be competing with your fellow Nigerians or Ghanaians. You're going to be competing with people from over 150 countries that also troop to the US to acquire the same education you want to acquire. So prior to this time, I am pretty sure that a lot of folks never would have imagined that, oh, an opportunity to acquire a nursing education might come my way. So ProconnectPAY has made that way possible. ProconnectPAY has made that way possible. So your first major investment is pay your membership fee. You do so, we add you to 2 WhatsApp groups, we assign a manager to you. 24 hours later, we are recommending 3 schools to you. You now go and read up on them and decide that, okay, this is the one I want to focus on, and I want to give my life and my best to this application. Of course, if one has the resources, you can apply to more than 1 school, but we always encourage people, focus on one and give that one your life and your best. And because this is a specialized program, there's no point to spread your tentacles everywhere and anywhere, because you will have seen the requirements and measure it against what you know you have before you submit an application. Getting an admission is very easy. Once you are the right candidates, very easy to get admission. So I will open the floor right now for questions. So thank you, Kan Lanam. So you say most universities run the 4.0 grading scale. Yeah. So if you run the 4.0 grading scale, my advice is just convert that, of course, to what you currently have. You need 3.0 and above. If it's 3.0 and above, you are good to go. If you have a 2.2, or you have a master's, and of course it's still a BSc you add, then of course you are good to go. But now, let me also say this. If you are here and you know that you are a science or medical graduate, and somehow you do not have a 2.2, so you do not have a sharp 2.1, then my advice is go and do an MSc in the same course you did in your BSc. We'll get to fund you, but it will just be in nursing. And we do not want you wasting your resources trying to try your luck, because you will find it very difficult to get admission. So all hope is not lost for you. You can just do a direct master's, MSc, in the same course you studied in your BSc. Sciences will fund you well. It's the same pathway, just that it will just be nursing. So any question from anyone? Any question from anyone? So Ella, if your daughter has O-level, she needs to take on a nursing training. She needs to attend College of Nursing or School of Nursing here in Africa, either in Ghana or Nigeria. She needs to. O-level will not just qualify, because, like I said earlier, the kind of course they are going for, on a good day, is going to be 4 years. But for someone that will be learning a program in 12 months, you need to have certain level of background to the course you want to go and study. So science-oriented BSc graduates already have that background. Someone that went to College of Nursing or School of Nursing already has that kind of background. So an O-level graduate qualifies, but they need to have School of Nursing or College of Nursing form of trainings. State governments in Nigeria or provinces in Ghana, as every province in Ghana and every state in Nigeria has a college or school of nursing. Dr. Bridge, you are good to go. Veterinary medicine is a science-oriented course. Temitayo, I don't know where you saw on your nursing flyer. For the very fact that you're attending today's webinar, it means you registered to attend the webinar. If you are registered on that particular website, you will clearly see there where you are responsible for paying your application fee. There is no way on earth we get to pay up. Why should we pay application fee for you? That's your responsibility. That's your own investment. Our investment in you is giving you a non-collateralized loan. You're not bringing a collateral. You're not bringing a guarantor. You're not bringing your kidney or your destiny. You're coming to assess a loan to enable you study out there. My dear, we'll fight for you now. So Alice, if your midwifery or auxiliary is still auxiliary training, if it's not a diploma that was earned in a school of nursing or a college of nursing, then you will need to acquire that first. You will need to acquire that. So disability and rehabilitation studies. Benjamin, I don't think that fits as a science-oriented course. It looks more like an MA kind of course. So honestly, off my head, I would say it does not qualify you yet until you have a diploma training from either a school of nursing or a college of nursing. If your course was a pure science course, then I would say yes, you are good to go for the accelerated BSc. But your course, disability and rehabilitation studies, doesn't look like a pure science course. So you still need that diploma from a school of nursing or a college of nursing. I have a degree in animal science. Bemileke, honestly, I don't know if animal science counts as a medical course. Sorry, as a science or medical oriented kind of course. So off my head, I can't say. If it was microbiology or biochemistry or veterinary medicine or guys, give me those science courses that are closely related, science lab tech, all of those medical, all those medical health oriented kind of science oriented kind of courses that has a medical affiliation, then you'll be good to go. Animal science, I honestly do not know. Off my head, I would say no. If you have a degree in animal science, you will need to go and get at least a diploma training in nursing from a school of nursing or college of nursing. Kingsley, I can tell you for free, if you want to pay in March, that's totally fine. But if you're paying in March, that means you're looking at going next year. Most of the schools that we're targeting for August and September, their application deadline is middle of February or end of February. So if your goal is to leave this year, whether now or January of this year, then it's better for you to get started immediately. But if you pay by March, that means I'm targeting next year, fall. So that's why we said that we have a very limited space, very limited space. So, like I said, Kingsley, if you have a 2-2, it's going to be a big problem. This program only recognizes 2-1 graduates, 2-1 graduates. So you have to do a work valuation of your degree to be sure it fits into a 3.0 over 4. A 3.0 over 4. That's what it needs to fit into. Unless you have a master's, then of course with your master's you can back up and upgrade your certificate. But see, even if you tell me that, oh, I have a 4.2 CGPA, you will still need to do a work valuation because all of the schools mandate that you do work valuation. Like I said before, if this is a general MSc program that you want to go for, they are not strict on West. Our schools are not strict on West. But because they are going for a technical field, they are going for a field that's a life and death kind of career paths. So the demand for this are a little stricter than the regular MSc courses we fund. Because trust me, we do not want to fund someone that will go and kill somebody in the future. That obviously will be a big problem for us. Yes, Bridget, everyone, even if you're still a member of the platform, still gets to pay a membership fee. But I would advise you to chat up with Kwame. So she will just give you special information, being that you're an existing member. So not all of the schools we've outlined enforces that you must have IELTS, so long as you had your first degree in English. That's actually why we're focused just on Nigeria and Ghana, because we know that for many of us we're taught in English. So not all of the schools mandate IELTS, so long as you were taught in English, not every one of them. But your 3.1 on a scale to 5, not being seen, that might not be a 2-1 by our standard. That might not be the kind of 2-1 that the US is looking for. So if you have a BSc nursing, you cannot go for an accelerated BSc again. Just to say this, if you have a BSc in nursing currently, you cannot go for an accelerated BSc, like another BSc. You wouldn't be admitted. You won't even get a visa. Because why are you going for another nursing when you already have a nursing degree? So you wouldn't, you are not going to find them, of course, admitting you. But can you go? Honestly, you would have to pitch yourself very hard to a school for them to consider you for admission, because schools only look at 3.0 over 4 scale. And when you do your over 5 scale, your 3.1 might either be 3.0 or maybe 2.9 something. But yes, that can still get you to compete for admission if you have other certification and trainings you've done to back up your nursing degree. So, Blessing, like I said in my explanation, for those of you, of course, with a diploma certificate, if your diploma certificate is from a government-recognized school of nursing or college of nursing, yes, you are good to go. With your IELTS, it even gives you a stronger advantage. So the program you get to qualify for is you can see it here, is the accelerated Bachelor's of Nursing program. That's what you get to qualify for. So, Eunice, if you say a diploma from School of Nursing, do you mean like a proper government-recognized School of Nursing? If you have that, then you are good to go. You are very good to go for a BSN, because you have a double advantage already. You don't just have your BSc, but you have your School of Nursing diploma. So that makes a lot of sense. So yes, you are good to go. Oh, Henry, you will need everything. My guy, you are bringing all your bullets to this battle. So everything that you know will give you an advantage, my guy. Omo, you go hold and strong, go, like we say in Nigeria or Ghana. You will hold it strong. Anything that will give you an advantage, my guy. So I don't say which of the two will be needed. Everything will be needed. Everything will be needed. It's not to showcase to compete for admission. Don't say which of the two. Everything will be needed. Every one of them. Domileke, I've answered the question. I cannot grade what your tutu is. Your tutu, your grade has to be converted, has to be evaluated. And when it's evaluated, it has to come to 3.0. So if it comes to 3.0, then yes, that gives you a pathway to an accelerated Bachelor's in Nursing program. Okafo, how can you have a BSc in botany and you want to go for a master's degree in nursing? Have you not been listening to what I've been saying since? Ella, anyone with A levels, so long as they have a nursing college or nursing school diploma, they are qualified. It doesn't make sense that someone that has no background at all wants to go and do a 12 months or 14 months nursing program. It doesn't make any sense now. There has to be a background to why you should be given that privilege of going to nursing school for a year, or a year 6 months, or a year 3 months or 2 months. So an A-level person cannot just jump in 1 year and become a nurse. That would be cheating. That's why they need that background. So A-levels are good to go if they have a College of Nursing diploma. Samuel, I've already read out what you're spending. It's left for you to decide, of course, how much that will be. For the part that concerns us, like I already explained before, and which was clearly explained in the form we've given to you. So in the form you filled, let me just show that screen again. Let me share that portion of my screen again. Your score application, if you're in Nigeria, is 230K or 350 USD. If you're in Ghana, your tuition deposits, sorry, just 1 minute. Henry, I would love for you to type your question in the comments. It's faster for me to answer questions that are dropped in the comments. So if you have any question, please drop it in the comments. It's faster for every one of us when, of course, we drop our questions in the comments. It makes every one of us lives very easy. So you also get to pay a tuition deposit of, for Nigeria, that'll be 600K or 800 USD. Service fee for those going to the US is 392,500. Or 350 USD. And this application fee is usually about 160 USD. Your country black market rate determines that. Flight tickets is determined by prevailing prices, so I cannot see what flight ticket might look like. But let's just say probably maybe 600K, 700K, 1 million. So it's totally dependent on what the mood of the market is, and of course, and how close, you know, to the time you need to leave that you booked your tickets. So I can't really say. Your first major expense is your 60K, your 230,000, or your $150 and your $250. That gets you started immediately. When you've gotten your admission, then that's when we're talking about your tuition deposits. And of course, about your service fee or your visa payment processing fee. So you're not spending everything at once. You start from somewhere. So like I usually tell people on our other platform, if you wait to have all of the monies you need to get started on this aspiration to study abroad, trust me, you will never start. You will never ever start because it will always look insurmountable. But candidates who guided successfully and that have resumed in the US or Canada will tell you that, start to, when you do 1, you jump to 2, you jump to 3, you jump to 4. That's how you take on this particular process. The first, you see, the biggest work right now is focusing on packaging of myself, taking all of the trainings and mentoring I'll be getting on this platform to get an admission. Once you get admission, you've done the hardest work. It is so easy to get admission, but it's also hard work because you need to do the intellectual work of refining your statement of purpose, of packaging up your resume. That is your responsibility. Of submitting your school application. That is your responsibility. But we will guide you. You'll be well guided on this. And every week, we'll be hosting webinars just to answer questions on any gray area you have in respect to your process. So for we, it is more important to us that you succeed. So I hope that answers your question. Okay, Sarah Lakaba, you're not ask that question. So are we making physical visa appearance? Temita, you've answered the question. For Canada, you don't do physical appearance. For the US, you do physical appearance. Bamidele, the cost is the same to some extent for costs that we control. For costs we don't control, like a visa processing, that's not dependent on the country you are going to. All I've just given to you is an estimate for the visa process. It could be more, it could be less. The one that we control directly, your application fee, your membership fee, I've clearly said what the amount is. So, can learn them. In fact, you are overloaded. There's a song I think I sang by a Nigerian musician. You are loaded. So you are overloaded. Can learn them. Use everything you have to apply. Both your bachelor's and your nursing diploma. That is the advantage you have. My guy or my friend, I don't know if you're a lady, you are going to be competing with people from over 150 countries for a spot in the nursing schools in the US. So every bullet you can get to fire yourself to admission, you will bring it to the table. So everything you have, and to me, man, it looks like you're well loaded, man. So bring everything to the table. Everything to the table. Everything to the table. Carl, if you have a 2-2, our schools in the US, sorry, you're even talking about a BSc. We don't do BSc for nursing in Canada. I think that was clearly explained. The only way you can go for a BSc in nursing is if you are currently a 300 level undergraduate in a university studying nursing currently. Then you go as a transfer student. But if you're already a graduate and you want to do nursing, then you have to meet the requirements you stated above. If not, my advice is just go for the regular MSc. But our Canadian partner schools do not admit two graduates for MSc. So the US is where, of course, you get admitted for an MSc straight up for any science-oriented course or STEM course you want to go for. Bamidele, that's a very good question. Is it possible to relocate with one spouse? So Bamidele, I'm going to ask you one question. Do you want to be bounced at your visa interview? I am very sure that your answer will be no. Then you cannot go with your spouse. This is not a spouse relocation program. This is for you to go and study nursing. Once you've got into the US and you settle down, you can petition for your wife to come and join you. That's a totally different ball game. But I want to go and apply on my spouse so that she'll be my dependent or you'll be my dependent. It does not work like that for the US or Canada. You only put yourself in a major disadvantage when you go with your family members for a visa interview. So for those of you that are ready to get started, my colleagues have dropped our WhatsApp links. You've gotten an email on how to make your payments. Please do get started immediately. For this first cohort, we're admitting a very minute set cohorts that we want to pay specific attention to resume in either August or September of this year. Carl, that's a brilliant question also. That's a brilliant question. So realistically, it could actually be more for some schools, but the base is that amount. But that's a brilliant question, Carl. Very makes sense question. It's the base to get accepted into the program, but it could be more, dependent on, of course, the school. Okay, so Okwemi, I see you're only sharing the Nigerian bank accounts. So I'm going to share a link now, a Flutterwave link, for those of us that probably want to use like our cards. Once you make your payments via that card, it will automatically link you to my colleague that have been dropping the links on the group. So I've dropped it now. You'll see the link for Nigeria. You also get to see the link for Africa, which means Ghana. The one for Africa is for the Ghanaians in the house. The one, of course, that is tagged Nigeria is for the Nigerians in the house. So Okwemi, I'll forward that to you too, so that you can have that. And okay, so I guess we've asked sufficient questions from everyone in the house. It's past, of course, by 12 minutes. Thank you very much, everyone. I look forward, of course, to welcoming every one of us into the ProconnectPAY education network. It's my hope, of course. Yes, Bridget, you have to. But like I said, chat up Okwemi. Okwemi, please, can you drop your link? So there's a concession we give to people that are members already of the network. So chat her up. She'll give you details on that. Yes, the recorded version will be shared on the WhatsApp group immediately we're done with today's meeting. So thank you very much, everyone. Do have a wonderful night rest.